welcome back to learning the processing framework in Python. Last time we looked at the basic shapes and how to draw them on the canvas. I hope you now feel comfortable with drawing the basic shapes. Today we'll create a beautiful rainbow like this on the canvas, so let's get started. First thing we need to do is to create a canvas, and we know we can do that by calling the size function and passing the width and height of the canvas. So let's create a canvas of 500 by 350, let's say. I'll call the size function by writing the opening parenthesis and then passing the width and height of the canvas and then closing the parenthesis. You can choose any size of canvas you want by changing the values of width and height of the size function. Now that we have the canvas ready, let's hit the run button and see the canvas. For now, of course, the canvas is empty because we haven't drawn anything on it yet. So let's change the background color of the canvas. And we know we can do that by calling the background function and passing the color we want to set as the background color. If you're not sure about the color you want to set, you can use the color picker tool under the tools menu and select the color selector tool. You can expect a color picker window like this, where you can select any shade of color you want. You can copy the color code of your choice and paste it in the background function. I have already the hex code of the color I want to set as the background color, so let me paste the hex code here so that you can see the color. So let's paste this color code now in the background function. Now hit the run button and let's see the background color of the canvas. Alright, we have the background color set. Now let's do some math to draw the rainbow. There are many ways to draw a rainbow in processing, but we will draw it by using the circle function. If you remember, this was the task for you in the last video, and I hope you have tried it. If not, no worries, let's do it together. First, we need to draw the outermost circle of the rainbow, and we can do that by calling the circle function. This function takes 3 arguments. The first 2 arguments are the x and y coordinates of the center of the circle, and third argument is the diameter of the circle. So let's make the outermost circle of the rainbow. I will call the circle function and pass the x and y coordinates of the center of the circle and the diameter of the circle. Now the question is, what should be the x and y coordinates of the center of the circle and what should be the diameter of the circle? So let's choose 250 as the x coordinate of the center of the circle and 350 as the y coordinate of the center of the circle. And let's choose 480 as the diameter of the outermost circle. Here's why I chose these values. The canvas is 500 pixel wide and 350 pixel tall. To make sure the circle is centered horizontally, we use 250, which is half of 500 for the x coordinate. And for the y coordinate, I chose 350 because we want the circle to be near the bottom of the canvas. And for the diameter of the circle, I chose 480 because I want the circle to be large enough to cover most of the canvas. Now let's fill the circle with a red color. Now pause and think about where should we write the fill function. We'll call the fill function above the circle function. Remember, the execution of the code is from top to bottom. So if I call the fill function after the circle function, the circle will be drawn, but it will not be filled with the color. So let's call the fill function before calling the circle function and pick a shade of red from the color picker tool. In my case, I already have the hex code of the red color. Let me paste it here so that you can see what shade of red I have chosen. Now let's paste the color code in the fill function. Now hit the run button and let's see how the outermost circle of the rainbow looks like. Alright, we have the outermost circle of the rainbow. As you can see, the red circle is taking most of the space of the canvas, and that's what we wanted. We wanted the outermost circle to be large enough to cover most of the canvas. Now let's draw the rest of the circles of the rainbow. We will draw the rest of the circles in the same way we drew the outermost circle, but with different colors and diameters. So let's call the circle function again and pass the x and y coordinates of the center of the circle and the diameter of the circle. I'll choose the 250 as the x coordinate of the center of the circle and 350 as the y coordinate of the center of the circle. And let's choose 440 as the diameter of the circle. Here's why we chose the same x and y coordinates of the center of the circle as the outermost circle. Because we want our circles to be concentric. When all circles share the same center point, they are concentric. This means that every circle is centered around the same point but with different diameters. So to create a rainbow, we need to draw several circles, each one slightly smaller than the previous one. By keeping the center point same for all the circles, you ensure that the bands of colors are layered evenly on top of each other. If the x and y coordinates were different for each circle, the circles would not align properly, and this would cause them to be off-center and make the rainbow look irregular or uneven. For the diameter of the circle, I chose 440 because I want the second circle to be slightly smaller than the outermost circle. Now let's call the fill function and pass the color of the second circle. Select the color from the color picker tool and paste it in the fill function. Let's color it with orange. You can see what shade of orange I have chosen. Now let's paste the color code in the fill function. Now hit the run button and let's see the second circle of the rainbow. As we can see, this orange circle is slightly smaller than the red circle, and that's because the diameter of the circle is smaller. Now let's move on and draw the third circle of the rainbow. Let's call the circle function again and pass the x and y coordinates of the center of the circle and the diameter of the circle. So as we discussed earlier, the x and y coordinates of the center of the circle should be the same as for each circle. So let's pass 250 as x coordinate and 350 as y coordinate, and for the diameter of the circle, let's do 400. Now call the fill function and let's color it with yellow. I have already the hex code of the color I want. Let me paste it here so that you can see what shade of yellow I have chosen. Now let's paste this color code in the fill function. Alright, we have the third circle of the rainbow. As you can see, this yellow circle is smaller than the orange one, and that's because the diameter of the circle is smaller than the orange one. If you notice, there is a pattern here. The circles are getting smaller and smaller as we move towards the center of the canvas. And that's what we want. We want the circles to be smaller and smaller as we move towards the center of the canvas. So now let's do the same for the fourth circle of the rainbow and fill it with green color. We will call the circle function again and pass the x and y coordinates of the center of the circle and the diameter of the circle. The x coordinate of the center of the circle should be 250 and the y coordinate of the center of the circle should be 350. And for the diameter of the circle, let's do 360, slightly smaller than the previous circle. Now call the fill function and let's color it with green. Again, I have the hex code of the color I want, so let me paste it here so that you can see what shade of green I have chosen. Now let's paste this color code in the fill function and hit the run button. And let's see the fourth circle of the rainbow. And there we go, we have the fourth circle of the rainbow. Now here is the quick challenge for you. Try to draw the last three circles of the rainbow and fill them with blue, indigo and violet colors. Now pause the video and try to do it. Alright, so let's do it together. We will call the circle function again and pass the same values for x and y coordinates of the center of the circle. For the diameter, let's go with 320 and fill it with the blue color. This is the shade of blue I'm going with. So let me paste this color code in the fill function and let's see how it looks. Alright, we have the fifth circle on the rainbow. Similarly, let's draw the sixth circle with the diameter of 280 and fill it with indigo color. And lastly, let's draw the seventh circle with the diameter of 240 and fill it with the violet color. Alright, we have the rainbow on the canvas, but there is one more thing I would like to add here, and that is calling the no stroke function. This function will remove the outlines of the circles. We want the outline of all circles to be removed, so we will call the no stroke function before calling any circle function. So let's call the no stroke function and hit the run button again and see the changes. And there we go, the rainbow is looking smooth now without any outlines. And that was all for today. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, keep learning.